I am going to show you how to hold a fun and productive realtor group call session. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to talk to you today about the idea of how to, ways to get agents to lead generate when the market's slow. I mean, this happens with seasonality in the off season each year for most places. That's in the wintertime. Agents get disconnected, especially as leaders when we're trying to motivate agents. We're even running teams or brokerages. That's when agents become the neediest. That's why we call it, migration time. That's when agents tend to leave brokerages because they're not making money. They don't see that they're thriving in your current environment. And of course, agents tend to blame the current environment. And if you yourself are a real estate leader, it's important that we try to at least do our part as leaders to create a production-centric environment, an environment where agents feel that they are in the best situation to be able to generate business income. Now, I realize oftentimes they will then, leave your organization and go to another organization. And of course, they tend to take the problem with them, meaning that they themselves are the problem. The fact that they're actually not doing what we've always told them to do, which is do some sort of lead generation activity, something proactive to generate new business that they didn't have before. And there's tons of ways to do that. We coach all those, and there's wonderful variety of ways you can generate business. But for the most part, most agents don't do any of those things. The vast majority of agents just wait for business to come to them. And if they don't, they complain and then tend to look to make lateral moves, hoping that that will change their business income situation. We realize that, and that is what it is. And we're never really going to change that. You can go around looking for agents that don't do that, but you'll find almost all agents do that at different times in their career. And it's really hard to tell which agents are going to be the ones that do it and don't, to be perfectly honest with you. So the best thing that you can do to control what's in your power as a leader is focus on having a production-centric environment, an environment that at least encourages them to generate business. And there's lots of ways to do that. And we always talk about all those different ways. And I want to talk to you about one in particular, especially to get people up and motivated and realize that, you're doing your part as a leader. And that's having group call sessions. And they're often called call nights, or they don't have to be at night. They can be in the day, where we're actually getting together in a group where we create some sort of, public accountability that then hopefully translates into personal responsibility, like we always train and coach at ICC, by getting them all together to get that increased energy going. And, if we can get people together, whether this is just a random night you have, whether it's a series of nights, whether it's once a week, we have lots of brokerages and real estate teams that have people come twice a week, like on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Could be 3 times a week. We have some teams that do it daily, Monday through Thursday, every single day for an hour or two, just gets them in the office and gets them going. It could be, just at night or an occasional thing. Either way, it shows that you're trying. Tons of people do it twice a month through the winter season just to get people in and moving. And it doesn't have to just be calling. It can be texting. It can be doing social media contacts. Obviously, calls are the most common, and they do have, the highest conversion to immediate business rate. But tons of different people you can call, tons of different ways to make it fun, to have contests, to give different types of prizes, to have different themes around it. So there's so many different ways around this. So, what we've done at ICC is we put together a group call session guide that I want to show you that kind of lays out a lot of those different ideas about different ways you can put some production-centric activity into your organization if you're a leader, so you do your part. Then, if you put this out there and you make this available to everyone and you encourage it, again, making it mandatory, maybe or maybe not work with your culture, that's up to you. Different strokes for different folks, different cultures within different organizations. But at the very least, even if you don't make it mandatory and you just encourage people to attend, now you've done their part, and it's up to them to come to you. And if they come to you, then great. Now we're getting them energized, we're getting them engaged, they're actually receiving value from your organization, from you. And they're realizing they have the tools, systems, and environment to generate business income, and they're getting those from you right where they are without having to do lateral moves. And, being a coach and a leader for, more than 3 decades, I can tell you, when you're moving from brokerage to brokerage, it's almost always just a lateral move. I mean, there's always that, the hassle with, you got all this busy work to do that doesn't generate you income. You get signs, and you got to get, new logos and new office training, and, learn your new way around and meet a bunch of people in that office, and a bunch of stuff that doesn't translate into income generating activity. So you really stall out oftentimes unless you yourself do something different, unless you yourself kick it in. Now, I guess it is possible to attribute your newfound motivation to your new surroundings, I guess. Again, that's your own mindset though. So, from being a lifelong leader and coach, I tend to try to get people to not have to change other things and just start changing their own habits, right? And this is a way you can engage your people and maybe hopefully get them to realize it's not that hard, because it gets them to start. And we all know that anytime you're trying to tackle a big task, let's say it's something as silly as cleaning out the garage, you can have it there like just a gorilla sitting in the room for years and years and years, but until you try to get that grill out, it's not going anywhere. It's pretty big and it's just sitting there. But once you get out in that garage and all of a sudden you back the cars out and you start moving a few things around and getting a few things out, now you've started, and then it starts to move very quickly, and you roll downhill very, very fast, and all of a sudden the garage is clean. But you can wait a year or two just to need to clean it out until you start. Once you start, then it moves rapidly and we get her done. Same thing's true with lead generation. Getting people to start and getting them engaged and behind it, that's the first step. And then all of a sudden, a large number, when I say large, I'm going to say larger, because a small percentage of agents actually lead generate regularly. But all your job as a leader is to put it out there and try to move the needle just a little bit for a few of them. That's all you can really do. They, again, have to meet you halfway. You've done your part to show them what to do, provide an environment where they can do it together. It's up to them to keep showing up to these things or to start doing it on their own in between your call sessions or whatnot. So you've done your part. And it also really helps with your retention, because them then saying, well, I'm going to go to this other place because they are going to show me how to lead generate, and they're going to teach me all these different tools and skills and blah, blah, blah. All of those things, to try to going to another place to get more business starts to really resonate and get them thinking, like, really? Because they're doing that here too. So it really starts to take away all their excuses and objections to success. And realize and make it a little bit more clear. Well, maybe it's me. Maybe it's not me that needs to lead generate. Maybe I'm in an environment that provides everything. I need to change my way of thinking and my habits and my activities. So I think this really helps with that. So without further ado, I'm going to show you this guide, which is going to give us a lot of different ideas of how to engage and create these interactive, fun call sessions. And to do that, I am going to show you how to hold a fun and productive realtor group call session guide. And you can see it here. This is our complete guide here. And as we scroll through it, we're going to try to make these easy and fun and so that you can join in and participate. And you can see we list tons of prizes and themes here. From a theme perspective, we're talking about just different ways to make it fun, right? Maybe you dress up disco or 80s, based on different decades. Maybe you wear crazy hats like it's the Kentucky Derby or something. You could, wear clothes inside out or backwards, or dress like another country. It could be Mexican Day or Canadian Day. I don't know how Canadians dress, but you dress like any other different, foreign land. It could be desert island theme, Mardi Gras theme, holiday theme. You could have a pizza party. donut party, taco bar, luau, tropical party, Disney characters, movies, sports events, sports teams. You could serve adult beverages. It could be a pajama party, casino night, have some gambling things to mix it up as well too. Make it fun, show off your organization's culture, and it kind of gets them in there too. It's a nice productive way for them to do it. You can see over here in the shadow box, we've got like the bling chain. It's like a big old fake gold chain that you earn it for reaching specific metrics during the call session. Like maybe you make the most contacts in an hour or something like that, or get the most, objections or rejections or hangups, or it could be set the most appointments or whatnot. You can go on Amazon and buy a real cheap, like those big old wrestling championship belts or the big boxing championship belts, WWE or whatnot. Whoever is last week's call session champ by hitting the most appointments or contacts or whatever you want, they get to wear that belt throughout the whole call session or throughout the office, things like that. Just ways to bring up your culture, ways to get people engaged. Prizes, man, you guys are going to be as good as that. We show a bunch of prizes on here. It could be Starbucks gift cards, gas cards, car detailing gift cards, things that people can always use. Maybe a commission bump of 5% off your next transactions. You could waive monthly office fees, desk fees. You could earn an extra $250 on the next 2 closings that you do. Maybe the closings you generate out of call night, maybe any closing generated out of call night, you get $250 off. Who knows? You can, all different things that you can award to people. You can, pay for upcoming real estate conference that they want to go to, or your organization's going to, or something like that. I know a lot of the teams that coach with Icenhower Coaching and Consulting, they do that. They'll actually pay half their airfare or all of their airfare, or maybe pay for one person's, room, board, and airfare, pay for conference registrations. All are part of any of that, can hodgepodge together. So that's still productive, still, tax deduction, and you can actually get them further engaged by going to a conference with you. That really creates bonding between leader and agent, is when you travel with them, you're rooming with them, all of that, you connect on a personal level, makes it, it's great for retention, great for culture, great for buy-in. You could do a marketing spend for them, buy a bunch of marketing materials, buy them concert tickets, sporting event tickets, gift card to a local restaurant, trip to a, spa, massage, or, facial or whatnot, put their face on a billboard or marketing wrap or, something like that. All different cool things to do. And again, some of those prizes could be donated, by different vendors, like mortgage vendors. They're looking for ways to do a marketing spend for you, title companies, mortgage lenders, and, homeowners insurance lenders, different people like that can actually do a marketing spend and help you out a little bit. Home warranty companies, natural hazard disclosure companies. I can keep going on and on with the different affiliates, real estate attorneys, accountants you refer a lot of business to, whoever you refer a lot of business to, home inspectors even, pest control companies, things like that. People you give a lot of business to, any inspector, they'll tend to sponsor some of those activities for you as well too, and help you pay for some of those prizes, or even food and drink at the event as well too. You have a lot of contests. That's very important. So have a lot of contests throughout your call night. You can see we've got a few on here. Some of the commons are most appointments set, most contacts made, most referrals generated. You could even do a bingo type of situation where you got a bingo card, and you fill out, every time you make a contact, or you get a craziest objection that you receive, or most hangups. Most time people hang up on you, things like that. On the bingo card, you get real creative with your bingo card items. We put a lot of those on here as well too. Every time a kid's crying in the background, every time someone says they want to rent, anytime you have a dog barking in the background on the phone, anytime they said they'd call us back, or they're too busy, they can't talk right now, or they hang up on you. You could do bingo cards for productive things like setting 10 follow-up tasks in your CRM, or when you send them a direct message on Facebook in addition to calling them, that type of thing, or sharing their post on Facebook, or anytime you get certain objections, like my friend or relative's a realtor, or we're just waiting for the spring to sell, or we're waiting for prices to drop. Again, different things on bingo cards that you can use. So call bingo is really, really fun. That's a very, very common one. You can give out tons of awards too. The more awards you do, the better. Like, again, most dials, most contacts, most referrals, most appointments, for the, you finish the bingo card. Best themed dresser, if you have a dress up theme like we talked about. The culture king and queen, whoever's got the most positive culture, whoever's helping the most engaged. Maybe whoever brought a friend, potential recruit to your organization from outside the organization. Craziest objection they heard. Those are all really fun ones too. Other ways to mix it up and keep it fun I've got on here, just different games to take breaks, different rock, paper, scissors champions, things like that. Little minute to win it game. Like, everybody gets a cup and a straw, and you pour marshmallows on the table, and the person who can move the marshmallows with the straw into their cup. Just things to mix it up, take a quick break, give a quick prize. So you keep it moving. You want this to be high energy. So just sitting there calling for 2 hours can be a drone. What ends up happening is everybody just starts talking while they're eating and chatting, and we're not productive. So what you do is you keep people engaged and keep them going, and you give lots of little quick prizes, lots of little breaks, things to mix it up. You could play musical chairs really fast, do the pie in the face or give away a pie or things like that. You can have a potluck thing where everybody brings in their own potluck as well. Too, very, very popular. We also put on here as well different scripts and tips. I mean, again, anybody you could lead generate for, you can call. So, you can, calling your sphere of influence is always great. Calling your old leads in your database, calling all your hot leads is always good too. Like people that that you've talked to that want to buy or sell a home in the next year, but they're just waiting. Those in your SOI are probably your sphere of influence are probably the most important to always be calling, right? But you'd be calling your vendor affiliate list, whether to build it, whether to stay in touch with it. You can call expired, canceled listings. You can circle prospect. You can call in your neighborhood farm. You can call around an open house. You can call around just listed, just sold, call in your own neighborhood, call FSBO sellers, call online leads, all old appointments from the past 2 years that did not list or buy. Your core advocates in your sphere of influence are probably the most important people who referred you business, people that know you the closest. Attorneys, vendors, those really, really, great referral sources. Really, you can call just about any lead, human lead possible to make it very powerful. That's the idea. So that's a guide that we give out to a lot of people in our, the coach with us at ICC as well too. But I think I went through it with you. I think you heard, the nuts and bolts. There's probably some more details in there as well too. But I suggest you have these. I suggest you have them, have a call night, have a call afternoon, have regular call mornings. Do your part to create this environment. And if you are the leader and you think, well, man, I don't have time to do that. I bet you do. Because there's a lot of things you need to do. And that usually is in the form of lead generation yourself. So if you're in there with your agents, making recruiting contacts, vendor affiliate contacts, business to business contacts, home builder contacts, demographic farming contacts, like you're reaching out and calling local hospitals, school districts to be the real estate agent of choice for those, calling your own sphere of influence if you're in production selling real estate as well too. Definitely should be recruiting if you're a leader as well too. So at least building a relationship with other potential recruits, calling licensing schools. There's endless ways where you could be productive to grow your business, because oftentimes as leaders, we gripe about our agents not lead generating and just saying they're way too busy with all their other stuff, putting out all their other fires in life. Well, we as leaders do the exact same thing. We say we're just way too busy handling our existing business or dealing with our agents or dealing with that, when really all we have to do is carve out the time to do the activities to generate more business, to push our needle forward for our entire business as well too. And what perfect time is trying to maintain a production-centric environment in a call session where you're actually in there with him, but you're calling different people. You're calling, making those leadership calls I just referenced. That's powerful. And you make sure everybody stays on task, that they're not just screwing around and, sitting there talking and munching on like pizza and just talking in the group. Hey guys, come on, we're calling, and then take breaks for, 5 minutes, do quick little games, and hey, right back on it on the phones. One of the things I know I did when a couple of my brokerages back in the day, I actually went online on Amazon and bought a gong, like a big gong. where you with a mallet and you hit it like bong. Back in the day in the 70s and 60s, they had the gong show where, the judges would go hit the gong if one of the contestants on the show was really bad. Well, we use the gong for good in my brokerage, and a lot of people do this as well too now, because I've talked about it so many times. Is when someone like hits, sets an appointment, they get to go, appointment, they get to run up, grab the mallet and go up and hit the gong. And you can buy a mallet and a gong on Amazon, for, I don't know, it's definitely, under $100. I don't know what you can buy them for, like $30. You can buy a pretty decent sized one for $80. I kind of sprung for the big one. And then they all of a sudden they go bang. And it's really hilarious because everybody else is on the phone making their contacts, right? And all of a sudden they have to explain to whoever they're talking to why this big old loud gong came out. So if you're the guy hitting the gong, it's really funny because you just, you get to disrupt everybody and you're like, kind of laughing. And they're like, hey, and they, again, it messes up calls and it gets people insecure about lead generation. But guys, that's part of having fun. You just got to work through that and learn to work through it. Just like you got to work through a baby crying in the background or a dog barking or other disruptions. Just say, hey, we got a really lively office and they're doing some hilarious stuff in here right now. So sorry, the market's really, really a lot better than you think, So, and everybody gets it and they like it and they appreciate it because energy is infectious through the phone, believe it or not. I know you feel a little bit, salesman-y or almost like Wolf of Wall Street-y when you hear that kind of stuff and you think, well, I'm going to talk to my clients this way. Believe it or not, it does not have that impact. It has a much different one. Like, wow, there's some energy, there's some positivity, and you're chuckling about it and you're vulnerable about it and you're lighthearted about it. So that's kind of a neat idea there too. You have people ringing bells, same deal. You ring a bell or something like that when you set an appointment or you get a contact or you get a referral or something cool like that. You get people some way to make noise to disrupt and create some energy. So hope this helps, guys. This is our call session, guide. And I really hope that it interjects a little bit of energy and engagement and hopefully production and income into the lives of your agents as well too. So thanks for listening.